You know what I'm saying? I'm just here, just taking my walk again. I like to take my walk, you know, 15 minutes, 20-minute walk always. Clear out the mind, look at, it's a beautiful day, let me tell you. It's a beautiful day. Let me see if I can show you. Look at how beautiful those trees sprouting are. Those trees are vibing. You gotta vibe like that, bro. You know what I'm saying? Gotta vibe like that. Anyway, I was going over a few things in my mind. You know, shout out to Alex Rivera. Shout out to everybody. I wanted to say that yeah, um, the thought is this. Look, people. I'm not against religion. And people that get into religious things and all these different types of religions and school of thought, by far. You know what I'm saying? I feel you at the point in your development where you need to be. You know what I'm saying? No one should come over and try to force you to be other than who you are and what you know. You know, there are those that if you are open-minded, that who will share things with you. You know what I'm saying? And my appeal Rahuba. There are those that appear to be knowledgeable in this and that. That they are where they need to be at that moment. You know what I'm saying? Hello, hustle. I got it on. Thanks to you. So, like again, I don't discredit anything. You know, like I said, if you want to be religious, are you expanding? Are growing? Because the doggone. When you go into certain sciences, they talk about the expansion, the expanding of your mind, the expanding of the multiverse, the expanding of your experiences, right? That's expansion. That's papaut. The doggone would say paut, right? Papaut. And that's expanding. So are you expanding in that particular school of thought? Are you, in other words, that's normal to expand. You look at a child through association, you put like I observe my grandkids, and I see when they live 5 weeks, and I see how they try to reach out, and then for walking, expanding their experiences. That's a natural thing. Stop that. You know what I'm saying? And that's a fluidity. We become fluid, right? So with that being said, it's this. And the reason why I said that, because to my people that are religion, whatever, like family members and stuff like that, when you look at the character, the grit, or the personality of a person, you say, just speaking about Jesus Christ. Jesus. Many people say, well, with Jesus, you got to believe in Jesus. You got to know Jesus. You got to be accepted by Jesus or something. But here's the thing. What character and personality are you attaching yourself to when it comes? Because the Jesus Christ that people talk about has a character and personality, don't he? Don't we read it in the books, right? He has a certain way. He answered things a certain way. He has a certain amount of knowledge. People say the knowledge of God because he's spiritual. The knowledge, well, that's a particular knowledge, right? So what was it? If there was this man walking on this earth, going to different places, because you find, even like I said, remember that everything has to be put together. You do find the spread of Christianity. You do find certain stories in India. You got Saint Isa in India, right? And through the Muslim, through the Arab, you got Isa Messiah. You got Saint Isa in Hindus. You got Alofi. You got Krishna. You got many. And when you look at the character grid of each one, then you have to say to yourself, well, what do they have in common? What is it leading to? What does it have in common? So to my religious people who are in that particular vein, right? Like we all, okay? The knowledge that is being spoken about, right? The etheric self, your etheric body, the energy behind why you say the things you do, why you move, that very electromagnetic force that makes you animated. And look at the word animated. Anism, anime, animals, you know what I'm saying? Animation. Look at the word. Go back into the root, what it means to be. And then you look at Ani, the books of Ani, the hieroglyphics, the books of Ani. You got to look at words. Again, we must say definitions. Look at word, and you find the common factor. And that's how I break things down. That's just the way I will break it down, right? So, this etheric body, people don't get to know it. They disregard that. Oh, just go to church and pray and you'll be all right. But you have no knowledge of your etheric self, of those energy centers, right? That deals with chemistry, right? Deals with chemistry, deals with mental thought, physical self, like chemistry, deals with your mental, right? And also, once the step towards what they call sprouting the rituals, now you start doing what? Doing certain rituals. People get so you go to church, right? What are the rituals that that marks your occasion, right? You're Christian, you get baptized sometimes, or you receive the word of God through the pastor and you get baptized. You go to Catholic church, there's certain things that you have to do. Go to confession, not confession. When you get I even forget that stuff. Well, at a certain age, you make certain again. You do certain things that sprout certain occasions, certain rites of passage, right? That's when it deals with that particular, the etheric energy. There is a rite of passage to that also. This is a secret that a lot of the ancient held, is that through certain works, with your hands, first with your mind and with your hands, with certain works, you're able to mark occasion and you're able to now draw etheric energy. If you want to work with the etheric energy of, let's say, the root energy, right? Well, you're dealing with the survival, you're dealing with fear. There's certain, again, rites of passage to work with that particular energy, and that's renewing. The process of renewing yourself. So that's when it comes to spirituality. And that's what I wanted, to document here, is that, if people just want to believe in this and that, but then they don't get into the actual character grid of the personality. They don't want any part of that. You know what I'm saying? They think just because they say, oh yeah, I believe in Jesus Christ, I go to church, and they think that's it. No. If you're lucky, you're in an environment in the church where the pastor is up on things and able to give you this certain knowledge, but I doubt it, especially the whole 401c tax break. There's certain things that in order for them to get these tax breaks, there's certain things they got to teach. There's certain curriculums, there's certain things they have to teach in their church in order to keep those tax breaks. We know that. Look it up. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not against any of that stuff. I'm just saying, got to be aware of it. and know, hey, listen, I can walk in many different rooms and many different venues and stuff and still be myself because I know the source of it all. Connecting to that source. Once you're connected to the source, and nobody could disconnect you at all. And so that's what I mean by, again, you want to be religious, all you want to be, jump up to the spiritual, which again, a lot of people are. Because religion, and when you look at the word religion, it means to bind you. To bind you to certain morals and principles, right? To bind you to certain rite of passage, again. Certain things that you got to do in terms to be religious people, all the same, have a common denominator. You see them, right? And a lot of it deals with belief. But then when you get into the spiritual or the sprouting of certain rites of passage, now you get into knowing certain things. And those keys are held in other type of schools of thoughts throughout the world, not only in West Africa, not only with the Yoruba and the Ifa. No, you could also find it among Sufis in Islam. You could find it into some really, in the horns of Africa, and and there are groups that if you go to India that has this type of knowledge, and what they're doing again is moving. It's moving with it's harnessing the electromagnetic, the etheric forces. They're harnessing that. The harness of those energy, And when you harness this energy, now it's giving you fortitude. It's giving you, because remember, once you align with one, they're all going to call in place. The first is your solar plexus, right? People say solar plexus. Plexus is a bundle of nerves. That's what a plexus is. A bundle of nerves, right? So you have a brain because you have gray matter and white matter, the same material that your brain here and your head has. You also have it right below the heart, and that's the solar plexus. And solar because it's central. It has these filaments that reaches out like the solar, right, and reaches out to your organs and reaches out, and those synapses are also there. It lights up. You can have consciousness, that ball of light coming from your gut up around your heart up to your brain. Those synapses. You know what I'm saying? So when you deal with this, you're dealing with willpower. The energy behind willpower. To have the power to what? To will something. When you will something, you're making a choice now. People say, oh, no free will or will. Will is just making a choice. That's it. Whether it's free or not, it's making a choice. We have the will power to either be shamed and stay shameful, or we have the willpower to what? Purify ourselves and stand firm. Willpower. In this particular willpower, that's Tai Chi comes in and martial art, how to establish that willpower. Now, the reason why I'm getting to this is because something that Hansu even sent me, which is I'm going to send it to my family. And it's very, very, very interesting because it's something that I've been saying, but I didn't know how quite to put it. It's put in very great words. And that's if you could shut, or not shut, you can block this etheric energy, this natural energy that's around you. It's around you. It's coming from the sun, that star. It's coming from your environment. That energy, what they call in motivation. Thank you, Naeem. They call motivation. All of that, you're pulling that. So it can give you motivation that could be blocked by what they call spiritual distress. The Buddhists say spiritual distress, spiritual caca. It's things, it's etheric caca. Because ether also has a detrimental thing, debris. Waste matter, what they call waste matter. So there's certain foods and certain things that we do that are considered etheric waste. And that, when you come into pork, has a high amount of that etheric waste. Guess what? The cemetery etheric waste, because those dead gases, right? Etheric waste, and some people use that, right? They use the pork, right, in certain rituals, palo, liquor, tobacco. There's a list of what they call etheric. They say spiritual nitrous. I call it etherical. Ether nitrous. Ether caca. Everything that's ether is not good for you. You got bad ether. And so this is called ether caca. Okay? And so it's interesting how you can pollute your environment, pollute that motivation that you have. You can pollute it with alcohol. You can pollute it with tobacco. You can pollute it with certain drugs, addiction. You can pollute it by going into the cemetery. If you don't wash yourself right, there's rituals for that, and you don't wash yourself right. You can pollute it with pork. You could pollute. You could block. In other words, you can put dirty your etheric self. And you can see this with people that drink a lot. And the environment, the environment's out of touch, and they feel like they're being pushed by an etheric force, right? You see the that's spiritual. Again, that's etheric debris, etheric caca. So I found that, and I spoke about this, And so I have to be careful too. I ain't perfect. Sometimes when I do some of these rituals and stuff, and I know that certain rituals, especially in Ifa and Yoruba, they practice that. They have the alcohol and they're dealing with the pork head, with the palo. And there's certain things that I won't even speak about, but then I see and I say, they're harnessing this etheric caca and they putting it there. But if you're not aware of it, you get caught up in it. But when you're aware of it, you say, it's there not to be touched. It's there not to be touched. Okay? So I just wanted to, home in on that thought. You know what I'm saying? And let me tell you something. Like I said, I ain't perfect, so I do this I play for these toques, guidos and stuff. And yeah, they always give us liquor, boo. Sometime in the palo, you go to their shrine, you see the pork head. Right now, so far, now more I'm being seeing is that they're not serving pork anymore. It's just chicken. But chicken is also becoming etheric debris also. You know why? Because of the chemicals they're putting in it. The feed is poppy. Because remember, the poppy, when you get the poppy plant and the heroin from, all of that is etheric, can also have a high concentrated amount of etheric debris, what they call ether caca. And we'll talk about that later on, about the story, so-called story of Adam and Eve, and what was that apple. It looks like a pomegranate apple, a Chinese apple, which if you look at the poppy plant and the poppy fruit, it looks just the same. So we're going to a whole build on that, you know what I'm saying? And I've done that before, but we can even go more in depth. And how that is, those are opiates. It's an opiate because they want to keep everybody, again, etherically, they want to control the etheric power of everyone. They need to control that, so they have to keep you. That's a hypnotic spell. That's the spell of Kinku, what they talk about in Samaria. Is that spell, you know what I'm saying? That we inherited that opiate, because we inherit that in our blood, the opiates in our blood. That's why I spoke about everybody, how we got to clean. When you deal with that energy, the lower earth energy is clean our, what they call the genetic blueprint and ancestrals. You got to also clean that, wash that, and clean it. And there are certain chemicals and certain herbs and stuff that cleans that, you see. And before I go, that's the word orisa. What they say, oricha, well, orisa, right? And thanks to the other Hansu, Nyame, brother that brought it out. and I always knew this, but I didn't quite, bring it out. But he brought it out so I could speak on it. So that's Orisa, the originality of the word Orisa, going back into ancient Kemet. And they were the watchers and they were the workers of the plant. Again, working with your hands in the plant to wash certain spiritual, or what they call etheric debris. I gotta watch it because sometimes, they taught us to switch the word from ether to spirit, which is two different things. We'll talk about that later on. Ether and spirit are two different things. Spirit, and ether is energy, right? It's two different things. Spirit is the act. Ether is the substance. So it's two different things, but they change it. They hide it. When we talk about, I'm not a spiritual person. Yeah, I'm a spiritual person in the sense that I do, certain occasions that I've been, rites of passage that I've been blessed with. You know what I'm saying? Especially with the Masonic order and also with the hand, with the playing percussion and stuff like that. So spiritual in a sense. But are you also etherical? Do you look at the, and I do, I'm very conscious of the energy, right now using the energy of resonance, because I'm speaking resonance in this energy called the throat energy, the halak, right? Energy, azab, this center korbat, right? Is the throat energy is speaking truth or speaking lies, and but here's resonance. How you resonate. The energy you have to resonate also deals with all the other etheric centers, right? And most important, what balances all that is your heart energy. That heart energy is your forgiveness. Because like I said, we ain't perfect. We're slowly striving for perfection, right? We're anas, what I'm saying? And we're forgetful. So we have to strive more and more and more to remember, become a member, become a member of, again, become a member again, because we detach ourselves from the etheric forces. Now, all of this, right, is what that character you call Jesus Christ taught. If you know how to look for the keys, you see, the things that he said and the keys. And then you have to go into, and I'm talking about that character. I'm not saying that, in that character grid, there's certain things that he has to say. Like if I create the character, like they created a character of and I always use this example of Corleone, right? Of Vito Corleone. The things he said, his character, that's a character grid. The things he said. So the things that Jesus would say and would do at the time, according to what's written, is alluding to that. Of how to find your etheric self. You see, people will understand that the Bible is not the beginning of earth like people think it is. It doesn't. Genesis is not the beginning of earth. It's a renewing. Remember, the replenishing. When you replenish something, you renew it. Of what? Of a certain characteristic, personality that's coming into play. You see, people look at it, it's scientific, it's about the earth. No, because the earth is billions of years old. It came from the sun. You're talking about billions, millions, billions of years old. That book does not go into that. It doesn't give you the actual science of that, but it gives you the renewing of a characteristic. Because there was a prior civil, and I don't want to go too deep, into that. The prior civilization, because if you look at the Elohim or the gods, where are they coming from? Heaven is a port, is a haven. Where is that at? Where are they coming from, and what happened in there that they had to come to an earth that was void? Tubu and or what they call Tobu in Aramaic, right? Tubu, that was void, right? Where did they come from? What happened there that they had to come now and replenish? Because there was already beings if you read, Genesis really good, that was looking at the craft hovering over the waters. These gods hovering over the water. So somebody's viewing this. Or is this simply the imagination? You gotta think. Or is this somebody's imagination? You know what I'm saying? Because we can imagine a lot of things are right, but a lot of times imagination is taking something from the unseen, right, and bringing it out to the seen through images. So that's what the scriptures, that's what the Bible does. Is give you it works. It renews. It's a story of a renewing of a character, of a new way that was coming in. New. That's the reason why when people read the Bible, they feel renewed. You know, their life change. Etherically, it's to renew you, right? But it's been tainted, it's been corrupted, it's been fracturalized and everything. So, you know, there's a lot of work to be done in that particular area. You know what I'm saying? So again, yeah, we can walk through many of these different schools of thought. You know what I'm saying? To many of these different schools of thought, we can walk through it and let you know. And again, create, because of the motivation, it create that dialogue. If you want to. If not, hey, I still live my life. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I read an article from Harvard University. Was it from Harvard University Psychology Department? Because I'm taking up a little bit of psychology at this present moment right now in the university. And so, you know, I read an article and it talks about living your second, saludo mi hermano Bondo. It talks about you living your second curve. That your life doesn't have, you know, when you're young, you're fluid. You know, you could do many things, but when you get to a certain age, you're not as fluid as before, but you have wisdom now. You have the experience. And when you use that to mentor, teach, right, and to solidify yourself, then that helps. That's where it's at. That's where I'm at right now. I still have some fluidity left in me, let me tell you. Oh yeah, you have to in order to be a percussionist. You know what I'm saying? That's why I advise everybody, man, take a percussion. You got a drum, sit down with your kids, you know, and again, I did a nice presentation for the school, for my class, from university class, presentation on drumming and how it is helping mind, how is and a lot of this I got to put to practice in my house too. You know what I'm saying? I got drums in there, so I do drum with my granddaughter, and when I move to do that stuff. But it's something. It's interesting because again, when you deal with drumming and you're dealing with music, they're able to learn how to teamwork and a lot of things. Anyway, one day I guess I'll upload that video that I did for the university. You know what I'm saying? I will upload that, you know, for you. You know what I'm saying? Tell me what you think about it. But anyway, all in blessings. It's beautiful out here, let me tell you. I love taking my walk. You know what I'm saying? Again, you know, I'm going to continue on learning, sharing, because sharing what I'm learning about the etheric. And a lot of time it deals with motivation. Learning about yourself and what motivates you and that energy that you have. And sometimes this energy, it's in levels. It's in levels. You know what they say, there are levels upon levels upon levels. You know what I'm saying? The highs that I went right now with this particular podcast has been the star energy, which is a sustenance. It's how those constellations and how we work with those constellations. And that, when you look at the constellation also, I'm learning this, is how to read the glyphs. They're glyphs. And there's certain things, because remember, when they navigated back in the daytime, they had to read the star chart. Get it? Star chart. These glyphs. In order to know where to head towards, what direction to take, and take a lot of things into consideration. You know what I'm saying? So those stars also navigate us, our environment, you know, everything about us, even our heart, everything. It sustains us, and that's what it's about. Anyway, all in blessings to everyone here, and you know, It's more to come. Salud.